Many Jackson County home and business owners are calling for change after several break-ins in Kansas City and around the county. It is a major problem affecting livelihoods and one of many troubling issues County Prosecutor Melissa Johnson tells me she and her staff are working to tackle. What's the issue that you really want to hit the ground running on?
It continues to be property crime. When you all are crying out for help surrounding property crime and not feeling safe in your homes because of it, I hear you. We need to invest in more technology and better tools to equip our law enforcement officers with what they need to solve these cases. It affects our city's ability to grow. It affects the events that we are able to attract here. And at its most base and organic level, it affects hardworking people that are trying to make a living, that are trying to create a beautiful life for themselves and their families. And it has real consequences.
I remember in the last administration with Jean Peters Baker, there was the rift between law enforcement and this office about reporting property crimes. And she was saying that not all the cases were getting to this office. How are you working to open the floodgates, as it were?
Working together, even in the process of the investigation phase. When we've had some bigger property crimes cases come into this office since I've been sworn in, we have prosecutors that are working collaboratively with law enforcement to make sure all of our boxes are checked so that we can get a good result on the back end. But the truth does still remain. A lot of these cases go unsolved. And if they go unsolved, they go unsubmitted to this office for prosecution. And so the way that we are really trying to cut through different offices having different data metrics that they are reporting out to the community is working together and picking up the phone, calling each other if we have an issue with how something was investigated, if they have an issue with the way something was prosecuted, engaging in that dialogue and making sure that we are presenting as a united front.
You and I have talked before about an obvious problem in Kansas City and Jackson County, young people and young adults shooting other young people and young adults. We've seen countless loss of life because of that. What are you doing to address that? I know last time we spoke, you were talking about potentially prosecuting parents in those cases.
Absolutely. And so, evidentiary wise, the evidence has to be there. The facts have to be there that actually give rise to endangering the welfare of a child in the first or second degree. What we are doing is working really closely with our new juvenile officer, Monica Penrose, and exchanging information and making sure that we make it clear to her when we are prepared and willing to prosecute a young person as an adult, should the family court certify them. I think that proactive communication has really helped with, reducing some of the barriers between our two offices. Frankly, a lot of people in our community didn't even know that there were two tracks or two systems, one that primarily addresses adults and one that primarily addresses juveniles. But we do continue to look at the conduct of our parents, whether it is leaving unsecured firearms out around their children to make firearms more accessible to some of these juveniles, leaving drugs and substances around their children to make sure that they are not easily getting into the hands of young people who do not have the responsible mental faculties to handle it. We continue to look at those cases. We have charged some of those cases this year already, and we will continue to do so.
You work with the city and the mayor's office as public safety director prior to this job during some of the deadliest years in Kansas City history. What wasn't working during some of these deadly years, and what needs to change?
That is a great question. We all need to get on the same page. There's a lot of plans out there. There's a lot of strategies. There's a lot of meetings, but we need to reach a different level of collaboration and coordination, not just between the prosecutor and the police department, because we're firing on all cylinders there, but our service providers, the grant making that the city does, the grant making that Combat does, which is actually under my office, all of the efforts that our private philanthropic community are pouring into. We have to get on the same page and make sure that these dollars are traveling as far as they can by making sure we're not being duplicative. And so I think that there's a couple of initiatives and efforts locally to really coordinate our efforts, whether you're talking about KC 360 or KC United, or even just the ad hoc meetings that we're all doing. And so the more that we can do that, the better off that we will be. I do think a municipal jail will help catch some of those lower level offenders before they get to the felony level. And so I will continue to say collaboration and coordination, which we're getting there, but we have a lot more work to do.
Historically, the relationship between this office and, let's say, KCPD has not been the best. How are you mending fences? You say it's firing on all cylinders. So how are you bridging that gap?
So every single month at the Board of Police Commissioners meeting, if I am in town, I am there. You know, you can't be a partner if you're not visible and if you're not showing up. And that doesn't mean that we don't have difficult conversations. That doesn't mean that individuals in both of our offices makes mistakes or drop the ball at various points in the life cycle of a criminal case. But we are working together, and I think my presence at those meetings really does help. But also remember that I was starting with a bit of a head start. Because of my job as Director of Public Safety in the Office of Mayor Quentin Lucas, I had the privilege of fostering some real relationships and bonds with individuals at the Kansas City Police Department and elsewhere in Jackson County as well. And so I think, you know, people lose sight of the value of real relationships that enable you to have difficult conversations so that we can be results oriented and not criticism oriented.